we do offer telehealth, and we've been doing it for a while now. And what I'm going to talk to you about is how to use telehealth as part of your practice beyond the pandemic and how to choose the right platform for you. So when I say that, a lot of people were reactive with telehealth. All of a sudden, they had no other way to treat people. And so they went right to telehealth and said, okay, let's do this, let's start it. It started Zoom calls, started Google Meets, whatever they can do that was non-HIPAA compliant, just to maybe FaceTime, just to get the patient involved and still in touch, which was great. However, it's really important to have a platform that grows with your practice and that actually benefits your practice. So a lot of people were thinking just to, see the patient during when they couldn't come because things were closed, but there's so many more reasons why telehealth is going to be part of your practice from here on out, not just when going to return to normal, but even the new normal, it's going to be part of it. So of course, now when people have a common cold, they're staying home. Whether they're healthy, they don't know what it is, maybe it's allergies, they're staying home. So that's when you can send out a telehealth session and say, no problem, we can still see you. Or that elderly population might be afraid to come in for a while. You still want to see that population. They still need to be part of your practice. So that's when you're going to be using the telehealth calls. During the rebuilding phase, right now, you might only be allowed to have a few people in your clinic at once. Maybe, you can't be as busy as you were before, but you want the same volume, right? So what you do is you still accept those patients, but you spread them out and you do 1 in-clinic appointment and 2 telehealth appointments that week. And you do a mixture of visits so that you're actually filling your schedule in the clinic and you're filling your telehealth schedule in addition to that. And in addition, you probably have some therapists that can't come in and treat right now. Their kids might be home. They might not be comfortable sending their kids to camp. So that's the therapist that's going to be maybe your telehealth therapist or your work from home therapist. So think about the ways you can incorporate it right now, what's going on. In addition, pre-op visits. A lot of people don't want to go to the hospital for a pre-op visit. Yes, they're going to have their surgery, but do I have to go there 3 times for my blood work and my pre-op visit and for this? Connect with a local doctor and say, hey, I will do your pre-op visits for you. I'll do a telehealth call. I'll tell them everything they need to know about their total knee replacement. They'll go to you, have their surgery. I will the day after do their post-op telehealth monitoring and rehab, get them doing their quad sets, their range of motion, and then I'll get them into the clinic when they're safe and ready to return. But I'll take care of it for you. Reach out to those doctors, let them know that you can be part of them, and you can do that with telehealth. And not only is that going to capture the patient, but the doctor's going to be grateful because a lot of these patients just don't want to make that trek out multiple times, but they still want the surgery. In addition to that, maintaining clinical affiliations for students. We all know some students can't travel. They were supposed to come to you in a month, but now they don't really have a place to stay. They don't want to go on a plane flight. You can say, no problem, we can still do this. You could jump on all our telehealth calls. We can make sure that you're still part and you're still learning and we're still honoring these affiliations, because that's how you get a lot of your PTs is by your students and your affiliations. So don't let that go. Let them still be part of you via telehealth. Maybe they're going to be part of a few clinics, but let the schools know that you can offer that to patients or to students. In addition to that, when normalcy returns, I believe, and many people in the industry believe, that telehealth should still be 20% of your caseload, but that should be 20% additional visits that you didn't have before. You need to be thinking of, how is telehealth going to advance my practice, not just, maintain me and keep me to that number I used to be at. So cancellations, you should never have a cancellation. If somebody says, I can't make it, my ride, cancel. No problem, let me shoot you a telehealth visit. Or I'm stuck at work. That's okay. Do you want to do it at work right now for 30 minutes? We'll do it. We'll go to your exercises and you can keep working till 9 o'clock if you like. Wonderful. There's so many ways that you can utilize that for cancellations, and rarely have a cancellation on your schedule. Inclement weather conditions. Again, that kind of leads to cancellations, but at the same time, think about those snowstorms where your front desk was just rush calling everybody in your entire caseload saying, sorry, we're canceling today. We're going to go home early. This looks like it's going to be pretty bad. Instead, you should say, everybody's getting a telehealth visit. We're going to continue your session today. but it's going to be virtually so we can still maintain and give you what you need and make sure you're getting better. For those niche practices, extending your doors. Now, Jamie just told us how important it is to have a niche practice, but we all know when you have a niche practice, that means people are traveling for an hour sometimes to get to you. Well, that's great. I'll travel for someone really good, absolutely. But I'm not going to travel every day 3 times a week for somebody really good. I might come once and then maybe in 2 weeks check in again. Well, that's the type of person that you engage through telehealth. You say, come out here for the eval. We'll do a telehealth session. We'll do 2 more telehealth sessions, then come back out here. So you can take that niche practice and you can contact doctors all over your area, your state, and say, I can still see that TMJ patient. I'm the best at what I do, and I want to see that patient no matter where they live. So that's where your telehealth comes in. And use those new therapists who have a passion about some kind of practice that they really want to focus on. Use that therapist, that brand new therapist, and let them grow it. Utilize telehealth in addition to seeing patients in the clinic. Functional assessments. We all know that there are things you actually can do better with telehealth. Most people from the start was like, oh, I need my hands, I need my hands. Yes, absolutely, our hands are amazing. But if I want to assess someone's workstation, I can't do that in the clinic. Yeah, they can send me a picture, but then, I'm going to say, oh, make this change, make that change. That is fantastic with telehealth. Maybe everyone you come in for a neck and a back, one of their visits is a ergonomic assessment of their workstation at work and maybe their home workstation, because everyone's got this hybrid model as well. So that should just be part of your treatment. When they come in for an eval, you say, great, we're going to set up a telehealth session to assess your workstation, and you're going to do 2 or 3 times a week. In addition to that, maybe you want to check out their sleeping position. That back or neck, every day they wake up in pain. You know what? When you go home today, we're going to schedule a telehealth. You're going to show me exactly what you're sleeping on, how you do it, have your husband take the camera and give us a whole setup for you. And this way, we're going to help you from you wake up not feeling so bad. Maybe car adjustments. Yes, you can do that if they come to the clinic, but a lot of times it's really hard to jump out of that clinic and take a whole look. But if you set aside a telehealth session for them to show their entire car setup, that's a great way. Home safety evaluations. This goes back a little bit to that post-op patient. So when they come in for their post-op evaluation, you're going to say, and you know what? Tomorrow we're going to do a telehealth session. I want you to show me your stairs, your entry, how your bathroom is set up, how your bed is set up, and I'm going to let you know whether this is safe, whether you're doing everything right, and I'm going to really help you transition to getting back to what you're supposed to be doing at your home. This can go many ways, also checking out somebody who has a baby and they said, I can't put my kid in her crib. Great. Show me how you're doing it. Let's schedule a telehealth. So think of how it can be part and how you can grab new visits from people that you can do even better with telehealth, and you can give them really the best possible care they can get. And finally, one I really recommend is the return to play assessments. A lot of these athletes, they're going back to their gymnastics gym, their dance studio, and every time they come to the clinic, you say, what's hurting you? And they say, oh, my leg's feeling great, but when I do this one skill at the gym, maybe it's a giant on bars, my wrist is bothering me. And you say, okay, I don't know what that is. Why don't we do a telehealth session? Have your coach there. Let me watch it. And then we can assess what you're doing. I can look at your body mechanics. I can look at what's going on, and I can really help you a lot better. So again, telehealth should become an addition to your practice. It should be something that allows you to have additional visits, some work from home therapists if you need, anything to be able to extend your doors, get more patients, go beyond your small confines of your clinic, and continue to treat patients with the absolute best care that you can. So in addition to all of that, I want to remind you guys that even though HIPAA laws were kind of lifted per se by the government, APTA still holds everyone to the same scope of practice and duty of care. And that means that you really should still be HIPAA compliant. You shouldn't just be using any platform that is available to you. You should have a plan. This should be part of your practice. You should be using a HIPAA compliant practice platform that you sign a BAA with that is valid and true and able to continue with patients. So in that sense, what should you be looking for when you are choosing your telehealth platform? You should be looking for ease of access for the patient and for the provider. The easier they can get on this telehealth session, the better experience it's going to be for all of you. You should be looking for a reminder system that automatically goes out to these patients. You shouldn't be emailing them links or sending them a text message. That should all be done for you and your front office staff. You should be looking for a way to request an appointment from your website. So that telehealth appointment request should come from your website, from your emails, from the signature that you send out to everybody. It should be everywhere on your LinkedIn, and you should really be able to have patients to engage with you and know you're doing telehealth and requests from those avenues. It should be flexible. You should be allowing more than 2 parties to join. That's that student who joins. That is that interpreter who joins. Or maybe the coach or the physician if you want them to join as well. So you should really be thinking about a platform that does all of that. So with all of that, we believe BetterPT might be the right platform for you if that's what you're looking for. It's simple, it's safe, it's secure, it's integrated with your EMR. In addition to all of that, it's something that you should have as a plan with your practice. You should have telehealth as part of your plan of care and your practice and incorporate it in that way. Just a side note, as PTs, if we keep doing telehealth, the insurance will keep covering it. If they see the industry start dropping on the telehealth, the insurance company is going to drop it and say, well, the PTs didn't find it important, so why are we going to keep covering it? So we all need to think about this, and we all need to think of, our hands are super important and we want everyone in the clinic, but there's also ways that we should be utilizing telehealth and getting reimbursed for it. So keep action, keep reaching out to all of the different avenues of our practice guidelines and make sure that everyone is still reimbursing this as well. Over to Brian now. So Brian, I would love to introduce from MEG Business. He is one of the best in the industry in terms of really helping physical therapists think differently and be able to grow their business and be able to practice and really have a way that they are successful, not just in treatment, but with all of their staff. So let me go ahead and hand it over to him, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Brian. Oh, I'm going to unmute you 1 second.
There you go. All right. Great. That was perfect, Marla. Excellent material. And for all of you who have just heard Marla speak about that abundance of great data, I can tell you I refer every single person who's looking for telehealth and for a really safe platform with some really good digital technology to BetterPT. So I can give a big testimonial for that. So I'm from MEG Business Management, and we work with thousands of owners across the country in how to live the life of a practice owner that you deserve for yourself. So I'm going to go through this presentation in fairly quick pace, so there's enough time for Will when he comes on, because he's got some very important data to share with us on our insurance side of things. So in doing that, I want to make sure that I take a 30,000-foot view first, and then I'm going to scroll down to 3 major targets. The proper, or the, in our opinion, in our experience, the ideal physical therapy private practice structure. The largest expense that we have to contend with moving forward is obviously our payroll. So let's talk about the shared risk model, which is a hot topic, hot button these days. I like to call it pay for performance. I don't like to invite the idea that anybody's got to share any kind of risk at all. I think we all just have to perform at a very high level and reap the rewards of our production. So my email here, that's our company email. Just put Brian instead of info, and you've got my personal email. So for those of you who jot down any questions, by all means, write them in the chat, or we'll handle them at the end. And I'd be happy to answer your questions now or at the end or at some other time. You can easily email me at brian@megbusiness.com. So moving on, like I said, taking a 30,000-foot view, I like to always start off with, what are your goals? I think many of us, and Marla's probably experienced it with all the owners that she's been dealing with, but in the beginning, when I was trying to help the thousands of owners that we work with, and we do billing for hundreds of clients across well, 100 plus, not hundreds, about 100 offices across the country. The number one thing that people were realizing when the shutdown occurred in late February, early March, March, April, May, so many owners were reaching out to me and saying, you know what, I did not realize how much of my life I had actually been missing. I didn't realize how much I was sacrificing this quality time with my children, or this quality time with my husband, or my wife, or my significant other, or how much of my personal values, my personal interests I have been just keeping on the sidelines for so long. And if you guys listen to my podcast, I don't know how many of you do or don't. It's, Physical Therapy Private Practice Secrets of the Top 10%. It's on every platform. I open every session saying my main goal, our main thrust, is to get you to live the life of a practice owner that you deserve for yourself. So in keeping with that, I think what we have to do is we have to look at changing our business model. Consider your staff and consider your patients when you're adjusting your business model. I think it's important for us to really, hit the reset button right now, or really, look inside and look yourself in the mirror and decide for yourself, have you been living the life you've always deserved for yourself? Have you been going down the path of success that really matters to you? That really matters the most to you? Because I think relationships is far more valuable than any green paper with dead presidents on it, really. Money is just an economical means for you to achieve greater flexibility, freedom, and stability. And so in keeping with that, put forth the successful business model that you think is going to cater to the needs of your patients and your staff. So you may ask me, well, Brian, what does that mean? What are we looking at? What are we looking for when we consider our staff and our patients? So we did a survey, and I'm just going to I have some notes here. So if you hear my papers, never mind me. I'm going to share with you just some of the survey results from surveying patients. So like I said, we have owners all over the country. We have a virtual training platform. So people are enrolled doing our Startup Accelerator program, our executive training program, whatever it may be. So we're able to reach out to them and say, hey, ask your patients this. Let's get some survey data. So the question is, what is it that's most needed and wanted from the patient's point of view? Here's some of the answers that we got back that were in the top spectrum of what's most important to them. They want immediate access. More now than ever before, people are so tired about being put at home, being put off, having to wait, not being able to do the things they want to do, that when they do get a chance to get out and get to your clinic or come in and seek your services, they want immediate access. I want to get in, I want to get out, I want to get my services. Life is so different right now. They want high skilled care. They want therapy that isn't equivalent to what they can watch on YouTube. I had a practice owner talk to me just last week, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to get my patients to keep with their appointments, but, they keep reducing their appointments and saying, hey, I'll just, do some YouTube videos, and then I'll come and see you once a week instead of, twice a week or 3 times a week, whatever it may be. I said, well, that's a quality of care issue. I mean, if they really think they can read a book, you can listen to a podcast, or you can watch some YouTube video, and you're going to walk away with the same level of care, then I think you need to reset your level of care. I think we need to really either better communicate what we're doing, or really seek some advanced training, because they need to know the difference. They need to feel the difference when they come in and see you and hear from you. Marla treats fine-tuned gymnastic athletes, as you could tell from her presentation, and she can't be replaced with a YouTube video. She can't be replaced by reading an article or a blog. That's not going to happen. You can learn a few things, but you're not going to get that same level of care. They want to see weekly progress. They want to be treated with advanced skills and technology. Technology is a huge thing right now. People are saying, hey, in this day of age, there should be technological advances that can improve my care. And I'm going to give you some secrets to some really cutting edge technology that I've been working with and collaborating with all across the country with several really leaders in the area of technology for physical therapy. So hopefully you can walk away with some of those tidbits, and those will be helpful to you. They also want to feel very safe. They want to be safe, and they want to feel like they're a priority. They don't want to feel like they're part of the mix. When you go into that clinic that's shake and bake and it's a deli, you just feel like you're part of the cattle. You're part of the mix. You want it to be like Cheers, you walk in, Norm, everybody knows, you got to be a little older to remember that sitcom, but people want to be valued. Okay. So I always say to my staff, and maybe you guys can take this and run with it. I say customer service is dead. I don't really understand what that means. It's so diluted, watered down. Everyone talks about it. I want to know when I listen to my staff and they're talking to the patients, whether it's on the phone or whether it's in person, how are they communicating from a patient care advocate point of view? How are they absolutely advocating in the best interest of their patients? I think we have no trouble attracting new clients and helping practice owners succeed in private practice, because when they get to meet me, or they get to meet Nicole, or our content developer, or they come on with our billing, they learn immediately. They feel it immediately that, look, we're here for you. You're not here for us. We're here for you. We're here to see you reach the optimum level of private practice enjoyment and success that you could possibly achieve. And how can we help facilitate that for you? That's how I feel about BetterPT. I mean, every single time I send somebody over there, that's exactly the feedback I get. Oh, Brian, thank you for sending me there. You know, I tried something else. It didn't really work, but I'm really cared for there. So, you know, I think that's the common denominator here, is that when you see really good ethical people with high personal integrity, they tend to run in packs. So I'm appreciative for Marla inviting me here. And I think you guys feel the same way, which is why you're here tonight and you're giving up your time. Let's talk about what the staff most want. Staff, according to the survey, they most want a safe work environment. They don't want to infect their family members. They don't want to infect their friends or other patients or coworkers. They want to know that they're coming in and they're working in a very safe environment. So here's a little tidbit for you. Like I said, I like to drop little in my podcast. I call it tips for professional success, you know, tips for practice success or professional success, however you want to look at it. So here's a tip. Look up the Aeris Air Pure, or, you know, pure clean device. It's made out of NASA technology, no chemicals at all, and it absolutely will sanitize your environment 7 times an hour. It kills, you know, SARS, you know, H1N1 and all these. So they have then recently been putting out reports and articles that it's effective on coronavirus as well, absolutely eradicating it from the air and from surfaces. So I'm not here as a spokesman for them. I've done my research and I wrote a playbook on how to survive the post-pandemic and create the best environment. And this was one of the things I put into my playbook for, you know, practice owners benefits like yourself. So please check that out. I think you're going to really find that to be helpful, and it will make your staff and your patients feel so much more comfortable that you have that going on in your office, and it's not that expensive. Remain highly skilled and effective. That's what staff want. They want to remain highly skilled and effective. I hear criticism about telehealth. You know, Brian, it's watering down my skills. I'm not utilizing the skills of a therapist. And I'm like, that is not true. You have to dig deep and find yourself, find a way for yourself to be more creative and more skilled as a therapist virtually. You know, it's been said the best owners in business are ones who can manage remote. You know, typically if we have multiple clinics, the clinic I'm in all day is typically the one that does the best. But if I can get all 4 clinics to hum at the same level because I'm not there, I don't have to be present to do it, that just shows the better executive I am. And I use that same analogy as a clinician. That just shows the better clinician you are if you're able to get the same outcomes and same results from your patients remotely through telehealth. Take pride in the documented outcomes. That's also on their survey. And they have a greater emphasis on the quality of time they're spending with the patient, not the quantity of patients they're seeing. So let's keep our eyes and ears open and be sensitive to how we're putting our structure together in our systems of operation. So we're meeting that need, because that's what the patients most need and want. Business development questions. You should be asking yourself these questions. What company structure have we employed that allows us to efficiently scale and expand? A lot of people just, you know, they manage by fire. You can't manage by fire. You have to have, in my opinion, I hope I can talk to all of you after this webinar at some point in time, and I can enlighten you, which you're going to learn more about, a 5-division organization chart that has hats, stats, products, and actually drives down to company metrics. Pay for performance individually, pay for performance corporately as a company, as a group. That's what we're after here. Not management by fire, not, you know, taking the thing that's hottest to me and put my attention on that first. What changes are you planning to achieve 20% of your gross income, your GI, through cash-based services? I have a whole list of cash-based services you should be considering. You know, you can do platinum level care PT, OT, you can do laser therapy, dry needling, depending on where you are. You can do newbie E-stim, the most effective electrical stimulation device I've ever seen and ever used. It's in so many of our offices. You got somebody with a lumbar radiculopathy, 5 treatments, 6 treatments, they're not going to have that. I mean, I can't make that blanket statement across the board, but I have seen that time and time and time again. It is amazing what it does with radiculopathies, neurological conditions, personal fitness training, massage therapy, Nutritional therapy. I have a nutritional therapist who works remote, doesn't cost you anything, and she helps boost the nutrition, literally walks to grocery stores, videotapes for your patients. It's a great collaboration within your PT office. These are ways for you to get 20% gross income from your cash-based services. So again, changing your business model. What steps are being taken to promote your purpose and values? Your purpose and values have to be promoted 24/7 within your practice. Obviously putting the patient first, obviously exchanging in abundance, giving more in value than they expect in return, right? Than they expect for what they're paying for. Community center stuff, charitable events, workshops, webinars, things like this. Nobody's getting paid to do this. They're all here trying to give back to the community, trying to improve your lives. That's on purpose. In this day and age, people want to see that people are genuinely trying to help others. People seek out using services and business partners or utilizing businesses with people that they know, like, and trust. And that's an important thing for you to jot down. Know, like, and trust. And that's important for your staff to hear from you as well. Personnel wise, what's going to make them really commit and invest into your practice? An LMS. Every business that has a learning management system embedded inside their business operating processes, operating procedures, they do 83% better than every business that does not. Every comparable business of comparable size and every other way. They just outperform. It's a better onboarding process. It's a better professional enhancement process. More about that to come. But a learning management system is the hot thing today, being able to actually utilize the same training technology or the same teaching technology we did in PT school. Education, duplication, application. That should be in a virtual process that has repetition, that has testing, that has role play and engagement. Very, very important. Stronger interest from more engaged candidates. So if you have a 5-phase hiring and recruiting process, you are going to land more engaged and more invested employees into your practice. You're going to have less turnover. More successful hiring and onboarding, having an onboarding post-training check sheet as an employee, having an onboarding post-training check sheet as the position you hired them for, whether it's an AE Tech or PT. 2 different onboarding processes. You should have both well covered in a check sheet. Organizing the learning pathways. An LMS system actually enhances one's abilities professionally for them to follow a career path of advancement. That is so important. People don't want to see a snapshot of themselves today and a snapshot 5 years from now, and not much has changed. They want to see that you're offering them opportunity for advancement, but you're only going to do that through professional educational training, not teaching. Teaching, they're going to walk away with 10% and they're going to forget half of that within a day. Training is a skill. Once you have a skill, you have it for life. So the other thing an LMS is going to give you is compliance with standards. Today, compliance is a huge issue. I just saw a report, we have a whole compliance program, a national compliance officer that works with us, sent me an email just 2 days ago, and another PT is going to jail for 2 years because of non-compliance. Non-compliance are things that they may have known or they may not have known. Lots of issues going across what your due diligence is and where your responsibilities fall. Operationally, let's look at operational questions. On the operational side of things, I really think we have to adopt a new clinical innovations and new clinical technologies. If you haven't looked at diagnostic testing, diagnostic ultrasounds, EMGs, things like that, you should really look into that. It would be a great adjunct to a lot of clinical practices across the country. A great asset for your practice moving forward. Again, I mentioned the newbie eSTEM, and most of you already know about dry needling and laser, and you're probably already pursuing those options. But those kinds of technologies, those innovative technologies are going to make a big difference in your practice. Commit to ensure that you have at least 3 operating sources of income. My PT practice, we did PT, OT, and speech, 3 sources of income. Maybe you have massage therapy, personal fitness training, and PT, 3 sources of income. Think diversification. I think pediatrics is a big way to go. I don't see Congress slashing reimbursement to children anytime soon, but as we all know, we got a 9% cut coming from Medicare, which is going to be painful, and you've got to outcreate that, right? It makes it even that much more important for you to get more efficient. Systematic changes that need to be addressed regarding the payroll because of this reimbursement crisis. I'm going to talk to you about the shared risk model that we built by 8 months of research of other shared risk models that were in existence before ours. And we tried to poke as many holes in it and fill those holes and create a better system. I hope we have. I mean, the feedback is great, but I think you need to find what works for you, whether it's a system like ours or one of the other ones that are out there. But I think it is the future. I think it's going to be really hard to pay salary and benefits and just exchange time for money. Exchanging time for money is going to be very tough to survive moving forward from here. Offering telehealth to your patients. I mean, I'm not going to say much about that. Marla said it so well. She's the expert at it. They are absolutely the people to be utilizing those services. And I think it is definitely here to stay. At least it should be. So let's look at that shared risk model. If we need to outcreate yesterday, if that's really important to you to outcreate yesterday, because over time, the trend is income is, reimbursement levels are going down. And not drastically everywhere, but they are trimming here and there. And, a lot of people say, well, I had an owner just tell me this week, well, Brian, only 15% of my business is Medicare, so the 9% cut's going to hit that. I said, no, that's not true. I said, that's not true. So many of your commercial carriers follow Medicare. As Medicare reduces reimbursement, so do some of those commercial carriers because their fee schedules are attached. They're aligned, right? And they follow Medicare rules and guidelines and regulations. So it gives them an open door policy to affect you on the commercial side as well as the Medicare side. So just be weary of that. That's all I'm saying. So if our income can potentially continue to get squeezed, well, the largest expense you carry that we all carry is payroll. So I think you need a shared risk model that has a low base salary that's scalable based on experience, that can be customizable depending on where you are in the country. I mean, I was talking to 2 PTs last week, and they are in Oregon, and they average $127 a visit. Meanwhile, I have clients in upstate New York that average $63 a visit. Huge. That's like double, right? So we have to have a system that can apply no matter where we are in the country. It has to be incentive based on efficiency. Number 2, based on production standards. And number 3, there should be a separate bonus system based on quality of care through a net promoter score. That's what NPS stands for. So many of the shared risk models do not take quality of care into consideration. They're just paying you to hustle. I'm not a fan. I do want you to hustle, and I do want you to give good quality care, and I do want you to be productive while you do it. So all 3 have to be in balance and in harmony, right? So here are the elements of an effective org board, an effective organization chart, I should say. I'm not going to sit here and read to you. You guys can see that. I do a lot of presentations, and I'm not a fan of just reading off the slides. But I put some bullet points up here for you to understand. Your company organization chart should have these bullet points here where it's broken up into 5 divisions. All the positions posts are well defined. The hats are clearly understood. All the products are understood for each individual, for the company culture as well as for the individual. And the divisional statistics are broken down weekly and then monthly. Obviously, number 1 and 2 should be very clear. I mean, even if you have the most basic organization chart, which I'm not a fan of this, but I see it way too often, this is a bubble chart. This is not a company organization chart. It's a bubble chart. I'm this person. This is my senior above me, and I answer to this person, and these are the people below me. They answer to me, blah, blah, blah. That's all it tells you. It doesn't tell you what my doingness is. Doesn't tell you what my products are. Doesn't tell you how I'm measuring my products. It really just doesn't go into any of that. This is a full complemented organization chart that does all of that. If I were to highlight, I know it's a little hard to read. It's hard to do on slides. I apologize. I really do. But if you click on roles and responsibilities, like where I have my arrow here, boom, it opens up another tab and it says roles and responsibilities for marketing director. If I go over here to the office administrator, I click roles and responsibilities. So I don't believe in job descriptions. I believe in hat write-ups that literally detail out what are the magic things that I need to do in order to get my job done so I can get my product in abundance. I have to get my product in abundance, and I have to have a way of tracking and measuring that statistically. This company organization board does all of that. I'm going to see if this is a video. I know when it comes to audio, it can be a little difficult. So I'm going to try to do this with you. Let's see if I can get this to play. It may play. So what this is this was a video that just has a voiceover of this organization chart. I'm not going to play it, but I'm going to have it here. So maybe, Marla, we can make this available to people to watch at a later time if the presentation is made available to you. I think we're going to save the minutes. I want to make sure Will has enough time because I already explained it up above as well. So let's go into this neglect of your marketing. So in this post-pandemic, people are like, well, what I used to do, I can't do anymore. Like Marla highlighted, I can't go do drop-offs. I'm not doing lunch and learns. I'm not actually, doing invitations into my office and tours and things like that. Well, in some parts of the country, people still are doing that, because I have people all over the country. So there are parts of the country where that's still effective and it's working. You wear a mask and you social distance, but other peers and other professionals want to hear from you and what you're doing and how you're doing it. But here's what I put together for you that could pretty much apply no matter where you are in the country. You should have an annual marketing plan with defined metrics. Now, metrics define like the key performance indicators for your practice on what you should be achieving when bringing in new business. Statistics measure the individual's performance. So you should have metrics in terms of like how many posts per week, how many engagements, what's your bounce rate on your social media platform. And that brings me to the social media marketing, all of those kinds of things, the blogs. I mean, BetterPT is like one of the best blogging companies out there. So look at what they do. I mean, look at their blogs and see how you can emulate it. If you haven't, get the book Freakishly Effective Marketing by Jessica Higdon and Ray Higdon. And it's a multi-level marketing book, but they do describe in detail the 5 types of effective posts. Learn, I do audio. I do about 50 books a year. Learn from that. I think that'll help you a lot. Identify your audience. It's called segmentation. Know who you're targeting and know what you need to communicate that's going to push their button and get them into action. If I'm going to talk to rheumatologists, internal medicine, I'm going to talk all about our safety, our gait training, our vestibular programs, things like that. If I'm talking to the gym kids, the ACLs, the ankle sprains, like Marla was referring to, I'm going to talk all about strength training and, functional stabilization and plyometrics and things like that. Know how to communicate to your target audience. Build a team. Marketing is not just the marketing person who's responsible for bringing you the new business. The front desk has a huge role in that, how they answer the phone and how they treat the patient and how they move them through the office. So does your therapist. I mean, is your therapist literally at the end of the session taking out a pad from their pocket, ripping off a script and writing a prescription for physical therapy, handing it to the patient and say, take this up to the front desk and book out your sessions? You're going to get tremendously greater compliance if you utilize that one strategy alone. I have tons of those kinds of strategies for more patient engagement and greater compliance. That's just one of them. Literally writing your own PT order. They bring it to the front desk. They give it to the front desk staff member. She shreds it, throws it out. But let me tell you, how many times have you had a patient have amnesia from the time that they did the eval to walking to the front desk? It happens all the time. And then, of course, there's 4 keys to business success. I have a course in this. It's like a CEU course. It's like really inexpensive kind of thing. But I try to give people dip their toe in the water, for $175, learn how you can manage the right environment, the right structure, personnel, and then, of course, systems of operation. I've kind of highlighted each one of those in this presentation quickly because we don't have a lot of time. But if you want to learn more about that, that could really set you in the right direction and make things quite effective for you. So I want to thank Marla. She's going to kick it back and take it over. This is us. This is what we do here. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, just answer your questions. No problem. Reach out to us. I'd be happy to reach out and help you with whatever challenges you're facing in your practice.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Brian.
You're welcome.
I am going to hand this over to Will now.
This is really an amazing time to really be in physical therapy, frankly. I'm going to keep this very short because it's Thursday. I think we all understand that there's, we all have places to go but I really, for me, it's really simple to kind of walk through the process. There's a reason why insurance is at the end, is because it's literally the last thing you will think of other than the reimbursement insurance for you all. But I'll kind of hit it like this. So for the clinic best practices, my name is William Sullivan. I'm the executive vice president. My family and I own and run a malpractice insurance company, CM&F Group. It's been around for over 100 years. We have over 100,000 clients. We work with thousands of PTs and PT clinics nationally. We're small, we're nimble, and we have strategic vision. So our big keys are making sure we bring peace of mind to you. Like Brian said, people of integrity and with high level of ethics run in packs. I think the fact that we're able to kind of hitch our wagon to providing care to folks like you all it really is just an immense opportunity and privilege to do something great in this world, especially help you navigate, with the pandemic and going forward. So with that being said, I've got all this information that we'll be able to post. And we love being a partner with BetterPT. And, this isn't to be construed as medical or legal advice, although I am a healthcare lawyer by practice and background. So I'm aware of a lot of what has just been iterated. Diversification on our own business. We've got about 50 employees nationally, and we've been growing post April, May. And the reason why is because we're nimble and we know where we're going. So to kind of walk through the big piece for you all to understand is really from the malpractice standpoint and insurance overall, there's a thing called a hard market. And basically what that means is that there's a limitation on surplus capital. When there's less surplus capital, just like any other economic downturn with other companies in the world, what happens is that their surplus to pay out claims is reduced. And then what happens is that claims start coming in as more and more people are hurt economically or physically with malpractice concerns, negligence, or wherever the case may be, these incidents. What happens is that people will try to charge more, essentially, for pain and suffering in court. So there's more settlements, more lawsuits, more going to trial. When that occurs, more and more lawsuits are paid. And if the insurance companies are strapped for surplus money to pay out those claims, there's a few things that happen. And we're already seeing it across insurance overall. Med-mal is the most volatile market, arguably, in insurance. You'll see insurance companies go insolvent, as in they'll go out of business, they'll leave markets, and they'll limit their coverage, or they'll really increase their rates. This is something that we're already seeing. What I can tell you for our policy, number one, you've got best-in-class coverage. Number two, we save people about 20 to 50% in coverage. So if you're a group of about 5 PTs in a clinic paying around $30,000 to $4,000 a year, you could be paying less than $2,000 with us on average, to give you kind of an idea. You can take that money and reinvest it with great folks like BetterPT, with Brian's team at MEG Academy. Those are the areas where you really need to take that money and put it where you need it, but also have the coverage that you need to ensure that you're here, not just now, but looking through the windshield, not the rear view mirror, to see where you're going in the future. So, but when you're looking at the coverage with us, one of the key things that you want to be aware of is a consent to settle clause. And what this kind of falls into in the malpractice realm is that if you get sued, you get to decide if you go to trial or you settle on malpractice. And if it's a professional ethics issue, a sexual misconduct issue, or straight up negligence and standard of care, you get to decide with CMF's policy whether you want to settle or you want to go for that trial, because you all work in small communities and you don't want the reputational damage. Alternatively, other companies will not allow you make the decision, and especially as a hard market hits, insurance companies will try to hold on to the decision-making power to settle for $100,000 instead of potentially losing hundreds of thousands of dollars with a lawsuit going to trial. So those are really key items. Telemedicine, really, really simple. For us, it's just scope of practice. If the government allows you to do, federal or state, and your scope of practice allows you to do it for the specific services, then you're good to go. Other companies might restrict it by exclusion. They might amend it by endorsement. Some may potentially increase costs down the line. Price doesn't always equal quality. You want to just look at the AM Best rating for an insurance company. Make sure they have the financial strength. We work with Berkshire Hathaway, with MedPro Group, which is owned by a parent company, Berkshire Hathaway. They're A++ rated. That means they are the strongest insurance company in the industry, or at least in the top level class. Now, the next thing that is a big concern, especially when you're talking with BetterPT, you're looking to diversify. 20% is a big number that Marla highlighted there for diversifying your coverage through alternative, your options to clients and patients through alternative means of care. cybersecurity, it's National Cybersecurity Month, October. We are at 100% year over year cyber attacks from 2019. Meanwhile, by estimates, we've tripled or quadrupled our telemedicine use, and everybody's working from home. You are at real risk for a cyber attack. The good news is there's a lot of great options out there in the marketplace. We happen to have launched one earlier this year in the midst of COVID, and it's great coverage with an awesome international company. And the great piece of this is that it provides preventative measures for breaches and mitigation measures. There's a lot of examples of why healthcare, and especially small, medium-sized enterprises or businesses like most PT clinics are nationally, are a real prime target for this. Another thing is healthcare is a prime target because the data that you get from PHI, patient health information, is so much more value on the black market than you can get at just the retail store around the corner. You know, you get credit card information and a name if somebody buys something. When you go to a PT clinic or any other type of healthcare enterprise, what happens is you get social security, medical information, the date of birth, the name, the address, credit card information if you're paying there, ton of information. The worth of that on the black market's much more. And for you to notify of a breach in compromised records is almost quadruple the cost of the regular market. So the corner retail store will be required by state or federal law to notify people for about $150 per client, whereas you guys could be paying over $400 per patient that you need to notify. So when you're looking at coverage, you really want to look at, you know, the coverages that you have to be robust. You don't want just a bolt-on add-on to your malpractice necessarily. Some coverages allow that. We don't do that. We've always determined to have a standalone coverage that's robust. So you really want to be asking, do you have security and privacy liability, such as if there's an investigation from a regulator, state or federal, or if you're sued by a patient whose records are compromised, who's going to defend you on that? Number two, do you have breach response for coverage for a crisis management? Breach response is calling up for forensics, helping you figure out where the hack is coming through. And then lastly, cyber extortion and ransomware. You know, so if you wake up on Monday morning, go into your office, and then you get an email that says, we're holding on to your records, pay us $50,000 and you'll get them back. That's a really shocking, difficult thing to deal with. And you won't open for the day, right? So, and when that happens with insurance, if you get the appropriate cyber coverage, you call a 24/7, 365 hotline, and they will immediately be onboarded to assist you individually. And that's another thing that we provide. So with all that being said, security, cybersecurity P's and Q's. Electronic health record companies do not offer coverage for cyber liability. We have, we work in over 200 different professions. Physical therapy is one of our top areas that we work and grow within. And I can tell you, in every industry, everybody thinks when they get an EHR, they're good to go. And hey, that EHR will take care of a hack. You're still liable for the actions that you have. The other reality is that most hacks are related to a human error. So the big thing that you want to be able to get to is, if you're going to get cyber coverage, you want to ask, hey, is there a cyber risk expert that we can utilize to check out the gaps in our clinic? And that's a big aspect. That's something we offer with our services. Once you get coverage, you can connect with a whole suite of services for free, and you can get a cyber expert to do phishing simulations to see your gaps. You also want to, they'll also train you up with your employees on human errors, like understanding what your passwords are and how to keep those, you know, secret, multi-factor authentication, or MFAs. Also how you dispose of laptops and other hardware to make sure it's not repurposed for somebody to do something unethical later down the line. So with that being said, please reach out to me anytime. We'd be more than happy to help you. It's a real privilege to be here. And, you know, just thank you very much.
I will just like to thank everybody. Please feel free to reach out to us. I am going to leave my email in the chat, and hopefully Will and Brian can leave their email as well in the chat. This way, if you would like to reach out to us personally, feel free and ask a question. We are here to help in any way that we can. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, Marla.
Thank you.